Hi everybody, my name's Coco. Today, I want to discuss one big question with you. Why are the Chinese incapable of practicing democracy? Well, the answer is actually very simple. My answer is Confucianism. Because Confucianism believes that human nature is good and can be made better. Yet, this belief is contrary to the most fundamental assumption of democracy. I believe that uh, the most fundamental assumption of democracy is this: humans are not and will never become angels. This idea came from James Madison. Okay, he says, if men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. Okay. But Confucianism is just the opposite. Uh, the only goal of Confucianism in the past 3,000 years was turning humans into angels. For example, Confucius says, controlling one's desires and exercising respect and consideration for one another is the meaning of compassion. The day when people can control their desires and exercise respect and consideration for one another is the day when compassion prevails in the world. And about 100 plus years after Confucius was mentioned, he says, all humans can become Yao and Shun, who are the sage kings in Chinese folklore. And Confucianism is similar to Aristotle. For example, the Nicomachean ethics and the politics all show similar ideas to Confucianism. That is, humans can be made better. Okay. Catholic missionaries noticed such similarities 400 years ago. And I believe their observation still holds true today. And yet, Confucianism is the opposite of major faiths. For example, Buddhism has three poisons, and Christianity has the idea of sin. For example, the Ecclesiastes says, there is no one on earth who is righteous. And the Romans says, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. In short, Confucianism pins its hope on the here and now, whereas major faiths pin their hopes on the hereafter. I believe that the ultimate truth of democracy is hidden in every US dollar bill. Okay, so this is the back side of a US dollar bill. And what do you see? We see, in God we trust. And I believe it is followed by, in humans we don't trust. In other words, trust no one. Do not trust any human being, not your political leader, not your business manager, not your clergy. every statement requires third-party verification. That's how we practice trust no one. We must always demand third-party verification. And to me, democracy is really, really very simple. So, based on the assumptions that government officials will always cook the books, fabricate their performances, and take salaries without doing anything, the people have the right to oversee, punish, sanction, demand restitution, demand third-party verification, and so on. And that, to me, is democracy. In criminal law, there is the presumption of innocence, but in democracy, we must have the presumption of guilt on all humans. And those who oppose the democratic form of government have to answer these questions. What do you do when the government breaks its promise? And how do you know if the government is executing the contract to the best of its ability? Okay? Every government has a contract with the people. If the government is not executing the contract to the best of its ability, the government has no right to exist. So, my conclusions are first, the belief that human nature is good is anti-democracy. And on the other hand, the belief that human nature is bad leads to democracy. And third, the distrust, suspicion, and doubt for the entire human race is the foundation of democracy. Okay. In other words, humans are bad. There's no hope in this world. Don't pin your hope on any human being. The reason I say that is it's a very simple three-letter word: sin. Or if you don't like Christianity, we can use Buddhism, which has the three poisons. And plus, Coco has invented a law of the conservation of human nature. Basically, it just says that humans will never change. There's no way you can make a bad person good. And if you believe that human nature is good, why don't you invest in Coco's company? And why don't you lend some money to Coco? Okay, lending money to Coco further demonstrates your faith in good human nature. Okay, so please, 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 lend money to Coco and invest in Coco's company. Okay, and well, the easier way to support Coco is, of course, to watch his TV shows. They are the best examples of his law of the conservation of human nature. Thank you, and see you next time.